Hello and welcome everybody to the English grammar lesson level beginner. If you are new here, welcome. And there is only one rule to follow. Please remember this is an open lesson, so if you don't understand or want me to translate a word or a phrase, please just stop me anytime and I will be happy to go back or translate. If you will like and enjoy today's lesson, don't forget to log in next Tuesday at 11 o'clock. But before, visit our website, teledom.online, where you can find all the scheduled online lessons and online meetings. If you become a guest of our educational website, you can get all the materials and recordings of past online lessons and recordings of past online meetings. So that was the short introduction, and let's jump on today's topic, and that is countable and uncountable nouns. So today we will talk about countable and uncountable nouns, how to find them and how to find the difference between them. We will talk about grammar because countable and uncountable nouns are a very important part of English grammar. We will find out later, but let's start with the definition of the word noun. So noun is a word, or we can say a part of speech that names person. So for example, Emma, that's a noun, or a teacher, that's a noun as well. Noun names place as well. So for example, Košice, that's a noun, or school is a noun as well. Things, ideas, or emotions. So for example, chair or laptop, or emotions such as happiness or sadness. So remember, noun names things or animals and people. Noun doesn't give us an action. Verb gives us an action. Noun doesn't give us description. This is for adjectives. So let's say blue or beautiful, that's an adjective. Or it's not a preposition. So preposition is on, off, and etc. So remember, noun names things and people and ideas, let's say. So it is important for you to understand what a noun is and how to find it in a sentence. So let's look at these three sentences and find or underline the nouns. So the first sentence is, Canada is a large country. We know that Canada, that's a noun, that's a place, and as well a country, that's a noun as well. Is a verb, and large, that's an adjective. In the second sentence, my teacher is funny, noun, eats is teacher, a teacher, a person. And in a third sentence, the dog and cats are friends. In this sentence, the noun is a dog, cats, and friends. So it is important to understand noun. And let's move on to countable nouns. So the first and basic rule that you need to remember and understand is that we need to use a or an in front of a noun. So if I say dog, I say a dog, or an apple, or a chair. We use an for the nouns that begins with a vowel. What is a vowel? That's a, e, u, y, and etc. So for example, an apple, or an umbrella, or an ant, and so on. So countable nouns start with a or an. From the name that it's countable, we often can count them. So I have one book, or I have 2 books, 3 books, 4 sisters, 3 apples. So we really can physically count them. As well, with countable nouns, where there is more than one, we add s. Okay, so if I have 1 book, I have 2 books. So I can create the plural form. A dog or 2 dogs. So I'm adding the s because I can count those. So really, let's look at the more examples. I eat a banana every day. A banana, that's a countable noun. So I can create plural. I like bananas. In this sentence, it means in general bananas. So I prefer bananas as a fruit. So really remember, countable noun can be singular, so a banana, or plural, bananas. English has a lot of exceptions, and countable nouns, there are many, many exceptions that you have to learn, but that's not the case for our lesson. So just few examples or exceptions is, for example, word fish. Fish is a countable noun. We can count the fish, so 1 fish, 2 fish, but the word fish doesn't change. So I cannot say fishes. So that's the exception that you need to learn. So 1 fish, 2 fish, 3 fish, or multiple fish. The same rule applies for word moose. So there is only moose. There is never mooses. Remember that. So let's really understand it. So we cannot use countable noun alone, singular countable noun alone. We always have to add a, an, or the. So for example, I want a banana, or there was an accident. So that's a singular countable noun. If you want to use plural countable noun, we can really use them alone. That means I like bananas, or accidents can be prevented. In this case, I don't really need to add an or a or the. So this is important rule that you need to understand. If it's singular, we need to add a or an, and when it's plural, we don't. There are few words that goes with it. So for example, some and any. We use them with plural countable nouns. So if I say he knows some songs, I don't know the exact number, so I can say some songs. It will be correct to say as well, he knows songs. That's clear and that's correct as well. But I can add the word some in front of the noun. I can use the word any as well. Any we use mostly in questions. So did you buy any apples or bananas? I can always add it in front of it. We use words many and few as well with countable nouns. So we didn't take many pictures. I'm talking about a lot of pictures, many pictures. And if I want to say opposite, so few or little, we have few things to do. Remember, many and few go with countable nouns. So there was countable nouns. If you have any questions related to countable nouns, please, now is the time to ask. Okay, if not, let's move on to uncountable nouns. So, on the other hand, with uncountable nouns, we do not use a or an in front of a noun. So if I say, I eat rice every day, or I just say, I like rice, there is no need to add anything in front of the noun. If you really understand it, Think about that uncountable noun has only one form. So there is only rice. There is never a rice or rices. There is only one form. And therefore, uncountable nouns cannot be counted. So one more time, think about it. We don't use a or an in front of uncountable noun. We cannot count uncountable nouns. So for example, happiness. Happiness is an emotion. We cannot count it. So there is no one happiness and two happinesses. No, there is only happiness. So really, we do not add numbers in front of uncountable nouns. So there is no one rice or two rices. There is only rice, only one form. We use uncountable nouns for categories, for example. So furniture. We cannot count furniture, but we can count chairs. So there are 2 chairs and 2 tables, but there is furniture. And as well with clothes. We cannot count clothes in English, but we can count dresses or shirts or hats, for example. The same applies for money. This is a little bit strange for non-native speaker to understand, because probably in your native language you can count money, but in English we count money in coins or notes or bills. So think about categories. As well, there are many uncountable nouns among food and drinks. So we can say that most of liquids, so let's say milk, water, coffee, juice, all of those are uncountable. We can say glass of milk or jar of mustard, but we cannot just count 2 milks or 3 juices. So remember that. So one more time, we cannot use a or an in front of uncountable nouns. So there is no a sand or a music or a rice. But we often use the phrase a bowl of rice, for example, or a packet of rice, or a grain of rice, or glass of milk, or jar of mustard. So think about it. When you want to learn properly uncountable nouns, you really need to learn these words that go with uncountable nouns. So think about those. We can use uncountable nouns alone. So with anything, just like that, just rice, I like rice, or I drink milk every day, without anything before the noun. Like we said with countable nouns, we can say some and any. As well with uncountable nouns, we can use the words some and any. So we listen to some music, or did you buy any apple juice? So both uncountable and countable nouns, we can say some and any. But with uncountable nouns, we do not use many and few, but we use words much and little. So if I want to say a lot with uncountable noun, I say much. So for example, I didn't do much shopping, or there isn't much milk left. Okay, I want to say how a lot or how much is it. And the opposite of much for uncountable nouns is little. So I would say, I have little work to do, or there is little milk left. So little. Remember, uncountable nouns go with much and little, and countable nouns with many and few. This is important for you to really remember from this lesson. But let's look at more examples. So many nouns can be used as countable or uncountable nouns, but usually with a difference in meaning. So they have different meaning. So let's study those. If you just say, did you hear a noise just now? It means to some specific noise. I can or I'm able to point on that noise. So it's that specific noise. But if I say, I can't work here, there is too much noise. Noise in general, so any kind of noise, that's uncountable. So think about the difference. Let's look at the second example. I bought a paper to read. In this sentence, a paper is not material, but is a newspaper. It is a shortcut for newspaper. And we know newspaper is countable. So I bought a paper to read. That's countable. But when I say I need some paper to write on, I'm meaning material for writing on. In this case, the paper, the noun paper, is uncountable. Let's look at another example. There is a hair in my soup. I'm talking about one specific or one single hair in my soup. So I can say it is countable, a hair. But if I'm saying you have got very long hair, I'm talking about all the hair that's on your head. So that's uncountable. Never use word hairs. There is no word such as hairs in English. So think about one hair in soup, that's countable, but all of the hair on your head, that's uncountable. Let's look at another example. You can stay with us. There is a spare room, meaning a room in the house. There is a spare room, so bedroom or dining room. So that's countable. But if I say, you can't sit here, there isn't room, I'm talking about there isn't space. And if you think about it, we cannot really count the space or count the room if we are thinking about room as a space. So really understand the difference between a room and room as a countable and uncountable. There is a difference in meaning. Let's look at the more examples. I had some fun experiences. Means that things that happened to me or things that I lived through and I have memories of. So experience going there or experience meeting him, for example. So we can count those experiences. They are countable. But if you use word differently, they offered me the job because I had a lot of experience. We don't use experiences, but experience. We are talking about experience in general. So all the skills that you have and experience that you have in this case. And the last one is enjoy your trip. Have a good time. In this case, a time is countable because we are talking about specific period of time. But if I say, I can't wait, I don't have time, just in general time, I'm in a hurry, so there is no time to do something. So in this case, time is uncountable. Please now take a moment, read again, and think about these nouns and their meanings. So what does it mean? A noise and noise. Please, if you have any questions, now is the time to ask. Okay, if not, let's move on to the last slide of today's lesson and let's talk about more exceptions or more things or more nouns you should know. So for example, news in TV, news is uncountable, But be careful, it is not plural. Okay, so we would say the news was very depressing, or the news is very depressing. So it's not plural. So we cannot say the news were or the news are. Think about it and remember, news in TV are uncountable, but are not plural. As well with the noun travel. Travel means traveling in general, okay? And that's uncountable. So we could say we spend a lot of money on travel. So that's a noun. We spend money on travel, uncountable. But how do we count the travel? We count travel in a trip or a journey or voyage, for example. So in this case, we would say we had a very good trip or a very good journey. A trip or a journey. We wouldn't say we had a very good travel, because travel is uncountable. So think about it, really understand and remember. And here is just a few more examples how similar words can have countable or uncountable meaning. So for example, a job and work. If I say I'm looking for a job, I can count jobs. So a job is countable. A job, 2 jobs, 3 jobs, some jobs. But if I say I'm looking for work, in this case, work is uncountable. There are never works or 3 works. I have 3 jobs, but I don't have 3 works. There is only work. The same with view. So we could say, what a beautiful view. A view. So my point of looking. But if I say, what a beautiful scenery, that's uncountable. So that's very similar meaning, but difference in counting. When we are talking about weather, so we could say it's a nice day today. I'm referring to the weather, that it's sunny and it's hot, for example, but word day is countable. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days or more. So a day. But when I say it's nice weather today, weather is really a category, so we cannot count the weather. The same goes with bags or cases. We had a lot of bags and cases. I can create plural out of noun bag, but there is an uncountable noun, similar meaning. We had a lot of baggage or luggage. If you think about it, baggage or luggage is really a category, and bags and cases belong to this category. And as well, like I said, furniture. Furniture is uncountable, but chairs are. These chairs are mine. And the last very good example is, that's a good suggestion. A suggestion is countable, but advice is uncountable. Now that's another exception for you to remember. But please remember that, like I said, with countable nouns, we use a or an. We add s so we can create plural. But with uncountable nouns, we do not have to use a or an. There is only one form, so we do not create plural. So please think about everything I've said, and if you have any questions, now is the time to ask. If not, let's move on to do some exercise. So you can find the exercise in chat box here. You can find it, or you can do it with me. So let's start with a very easy first exercise, and that is decide if the noun is countable or uncountable. So noun day. What do you think? Is it countable or uncountable? Day, days. So it's countable.
Countable.
Very good. Joke.
Uncountable, I think.
Joke or two jokes. So joke is countable as well.
Okay, sorry.
But language, is it countable or is it uncountable?
Okay, languages, because there are.
Languages, very good. Umbrella. One umbrella and two umbrellas. So it is countable. Space.
It is uncountable.
Uncountable, very good, because we cannot count the space.
Yes.
Very good. What about noun people? People is countable. Because we can say there were 3 people or there were 4 people. Really countable. If I want to use singular, that's person. So think about person, 1, but 2 people. What about word meat? So like I said, usually food or drinks are uncountable. So we can count meat, but in kilos or pounds or grams. As well with the word or noun friend. 1 friend and 2 friends. So the noun is countable. Picture. 1 picture or 3 pictures. So the noun picture is countable. What about noun air? Is it countable or is it uncountable?
Uncountable.
Uncountable. Very good. So that was a warm-up exercise, and let's move on to second part that will be a little bit more difficult. So some of these sentences, not all, need a or an. I want you to correct the sentence and put a or an in the right position. So we went to a very nice restaurant last weekend. We need to add a. We went to a very nice restaurant. A very nice restaurant. I brush my teeth with toothpaste. So what do you think? Is this phrase correct or incorrect?
It is
This
correct.
sentence is correct. In this case, teeth is noun and toothpaste is noun. But we cannot count toothpaste. We can count tubes of toothpaste or grams of toothpaste, but not toothpaste by itself. Good. What about next one? I use toothbrush to brush my teeth. So think about noun toothbrush. Is it countable or is it uncountable? We can count toothbrushes, so we would say I use a toothbrush every day or to brush my teeth. Next one. Can you tell me if there is a bank near here? Bank, it's countable, so we would add a bank near here. A bank. What about next one? My brother works for insurance company in Frankfurt. In this case, noun is company. So think about what do I add in front of it? Because word insurance starts with a vowel, I need to add an. So my brother works for an insurance company. Next sentence, I don't like violence. Is it correct or is it incorrect? The noun violence is uncountable. We cannot count violence, so the sentence is correct. Next one, can you smell paint? Noun paint, is it countable or uncountable? We can really count uncountable, so this phrase or sentence is correct.
Yes.
Next one, we were in Rome, we stay in big hotel. So think about the noun hotel or big hotel. Is hotel countable or uncountable? Or what do I add in front of it?
It's countable. It should be in a big hotel.
Very good. In a big hotel. Good. What about next one? We need petrol. I hope we come to petrol station soon. So in this sentence, station is the one countable. So we need to add something in front of it, and it's a petrol station. A station. What about next one? I wonder if you can help me. I have problem. So if you think about it, the only noun in this sentence is problem. Problem is countable. There is one problem or 5 problems. So we need to add a problem. I have a problem. Or you can say I have problems in plural without a. So what about next one? I like your suggestion. It's a very interesting idea. So remember what we said. If idea is countable, we need to add something in front of it. But interesting sounds with a vowel. So we add an. It's a very idea. Good. John has interview for job tomorrow. So think about it. Where do I need to add something, or do I need to add something? Interview is the noun we are looking. So we can count the interviews. I can have one interview or I can have several interviews. So an interview for job tomorrow. Next one, I like volleyball. It's good game. So if you think about noun game, that's a countable. So I need to add something in front of it, and it's a good game. Lisa doesn't usually wear jewelry. Jewelry, in this case, is a category. So it's earrings, rings, necklaces. So in this case, the sentence is correct. But in the second sentence, Jane was wearing beautiful necklace. In this case, necklace, that's a part of a category, jewelry. Necklace is countable. So Jane was wearing a beautiful necklace. Okay, very good. And let's finish with the last part. And there are 2 options. I want you to choose the correct one. So, did you hear just now? No, I didn't hear anything. So I'm referring to some specific one. So it is countable, a noise. Did you hear a noise just now? Specific noise. If you want to know the news, you can read a paper. because I'm thinking about a newspaper, a news, okay? A paper. But in the next sentence, I want to print some documents, but the printer is out of the material, out of paper. And in this case, that's uncountable. Good, let's move on to another set or another pair of sentence. Comes from the sun. So we would say light in general, uncountable, because we cannot count the light. But in another sentence, I thought there was somebody in the house because there was on inside. So it really means the light was on. A light was on. So particular light or light bulb was on inside. Good. I was in a hurry this morning. I didn't have for breakfast. Time, just in general, just time for breakfast. Very good. But next sentence, did you have a good holiday? Yes, we had
a wonderful time.
a wonderful time, exactly, because I'm referring to specific period of time. In previous, time in general, time for breakfast, time for homework or for lesson in general. But if I'm asking about specific period of time, I want to know what time or did you have a wonderful time, for example. Good. What about next one? This is, did you decorate it yourself? So this is a nice room, exactly, because I'm talking about room in the house, not space. Very good. What about next one? Bad news make people happy. So remember, we said news, now news is uncountable. But is it singular or is it plural? Do we use bad news don't or bad news doesn't?
I think plural, so don't.
It is doesn't. Remember, like I said in the presentation, news is uncountable, but it's not plural. Okay, we would say the news was, so it is singular, never news were. So in the sentence, bad news doesn't make people happy, singular. Okay, let's do last two ones. So choose damage or damages caused by the storm will cost a lot to repair. So think about noun damage. Can we count damage or is it uncountable? So therefore, is it the damage? Because we really cannot count the damage, just damage in general. And
Okay.
let's do...
Sorry. But
Yes,
I
please.
also hear a case that there are some damages on the material, let's say, or it is not correct?
No, it's not correct. Damage is uncountable.
Okay, fine.
We could say there were some problems, and problems we can count, but not damage. Damage is very general word and very non-specific, okay? So really abstract. So think about many of the abstract nouns are uncountable.
Okay, thank you.
And let's look at the last sentence. So there are two words to insert. So you're too long. You should cut your hair. Like we said in the presentation, there is never a noun hairs. Okay, I can have one hair in a soup, but my hair on the hair is hair, so it's uncountable. Never hairs. And therefore, I would say it. You should cut it. So please, if you have any questions, now is the time to ask.
Ideš sa pýtať, Gabriela, či ja? Máme tam problém s tým interesting idea. Že prečo tam išlo N a nie E.
Okay, let's find it. Okay, sorry, it should be a.
A very interesting idea.
A very interesting idea. That was my fault. Thank you for corrections. Anything else that you would like to review? If not,
And interesting, because you have interest ring.
yes, but we could say an interesting idea. Interesting idea. But if I say very, so the very start, it doesn't start with a vowel, I would say a very interesting idea. Is it clear?
Yes, it is.
Okay, good. Any other question? If not, I would like to say thank you very much for being good students today. If you enjoy today's lesson, come and join us next Tuesday at 11. If you found this lesson too easy for you and you want to become more advanced, log in on Thursday at 11 o'clock. That's a English grammar lesson level advance. So thank you very much and have a nice day.